Confidence! A paper in and on music for CFAMC.
By William Vollinger.
As our own Greg Pascuzzi has said,
some musicians I know combine arrogance and insecurity, but a few combine humility and
confidence! Greg said this in reference to this man, Phil Smith, first trumpet in the New York Philharmonic. Greg introduced me to Phil after a concert once, and I told him what a great witness he is to Jesus on and off stage. His response was,
Jesus kicks me in the rear end a lot. That would have to mean that Phil Smith must be changing and growing just like you and me.
Or more precisely, as John the Baptist once said, I must decrease, but he must increase.
But I don't think I like that so much.
Well, you might.
But since the title of this paper in and on music for CFAMC is
Humility
and confidence,
let's move to the other end of the spectrum.
from
Humility
to
glory.
different people have different ideas about what glory is.
For pharaohs, it's big statues.
Wow.
For musicians, it's standing ovations! But for St. Paul, that's all just a lot of... That's because there's only one real glory. God's. No other glory exists except one glory, God's glory. Anything else is merely counterfeit, and that's a crime. But good news, fellow counterfeiters, we can grow in God's glory, in Jesus. But we all, with open face, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, are changed into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord. From glory to glory to glory to glory to glory. Which is why JSB wrote SDG, Soli Deo Gloria, only to the glory of God, on all his manuscripts, because he knew better and was a CFAMC, Christian fellow and most cool, BACH. And in case you haven't noticed, when you're looking at your shadow, you're not looking at the light. But what about this? As our own Jesus once said, if you lose your life for my sake, you'll find it. But what does that mean? This? Or this? It's this. Humility isn't putting yourself down. Is putting yourself aside. It leads to a new life. Jesus' life in you. I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live. Yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. But what about confidence? It is very important. But where do you get it? The viola shall sound, and the dead shall be raised. Maybe you've tried some of those self-help books and believe in yourself. Just believe in yourself. Oh, you gotta believe in yourself. And
It's important to be self-confident.
no! It's important to be God confident. For such is the confidence we have through Christ towards God. Not that we are sufficient ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of God. I used to say the end of the above verse like this. Not that we are sufficient ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of God. Emphasis on me. But now I say the end of the above verse like this. Not that we are sufficient ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of God. Emphasis on God. Wow! I finally realized it wasn't that I shouldn't be self-confident, but that I can't be self-confident. In other words, it just won't work. It's like this. Multiple choice question. Which is the better place to build your house on? 1, on sand. 2 on rock. Answer key 2. No other confidence exists except one confidence: God confidence. Anything else is merely counterfeit, and that's a crime. But good news, fellow counterfeiters, if you're feeling arrogant and insecure, instead of humble and confident, we can all grow in God confidence. Cast not away your confidence, which has great recompense of reward. For you have need of patience, that having done the will of God, you may obtain the promise.
So then there is something that I'm supposed to do?
Yes!
Say yes, Lord. I say yes.
So dig up the talent your master has entrusted you with. Take off the napkin of fear and pride, and invest it the way you're supposed to. Or in other words, go for it. He that plows should plow in hope.
Keep your head on the plow and hold on.
But whatsoever you do, do it heartily to the Lord and not unto men. And now let's all just stand to our feet and join me in singing, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Don't you try to figure it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't you try to figure it out. I'm gonna